So Ben Shapiro and Andrew Tate are having a social media feud, and you might be asking yourselves, Leon, why are you covering this? This isn't nerdy news, and I say to you, Ben Shapiro does movie reviews, and Andrew Tate has made a comic book, so this qualifies. In all seriousness, I do find this incredibly interesting, because both these individuals are bastions of what the other side of the culture war would consider the ultimate bad guys. Like, Ben Shapiro and Andrew Tate are like the boogeymen of the left when it comes to their impact on young individuals, specifically young males, and so for them to be going at each other over their views on Israel and Palestine, I think is incredibly interesting, specifically because, in my humble opinion, there's a very clear winner. Like regardless of how you feel or how they feel on what's going on in the region, their views and their differences about what's going on between Israel and Palestine, when it comes to them as people and debaters, there's a clear victor here in the eyes of the public, and I want to go ahead and point that out and talk about it. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and your boy wants to get a little bit controversial today. Don't unsubscribe just because I might be saying some things you don't like. Just take it all in, baby birds. Take it all in. But yes, before we get to the article, please do subscribe. I'm trying to get to the 2,000 subscriber mark before the end of the year, and with us passing the 1,600 mark, I think that we're well on our way and could do this. So if you enjoy nerdy news content with the occasional splash of political content, then this is where you need to be. Let's get into it. Ben Shapiro escalates feud with Andrew Tate. The feud between Ben Shapiro and Andrew Tate has escalated after the conservative political commentators slammed the former kickboxer on Piers Morgan Uncensored. The online battle between the two influencers began with a post Shapiro shared to X, the social media network formerly known as Twitter, on October 9th. Now, I want to stop here and let you guys know, I'm sure you probably can gather this already if you've seen any of my other videos, I got no allegiance to either of these individuals. Now, both have said things that I emphatically agree with, though both have also said and done things that I vehemently disagree with, because just like all humans, sometimes they do things good, sometimes they don't, and we're not just going to, fall in line and believe 100% or just identify 100% with everything that one individual says, because if you're doing that, you're in an echo chamber, or worse, you're a fanatic. Neither of those things are good. So I just want to throw out there that while I am going to be, giving some thoughts on Ben Shapiro and Andrew Tate, your boy is not a fan of either of these. I'm also not anti either of these. I think that both of them have their place in the world right now, and, for better or for worse. The conservative political commentator, who is Jewish, if you couldn't tell, if you guys didn't know that Ben Shapiro was Jewish, and staunch supporter of Israel, reposted a clip of the current fighting in the Gaza Strip. Originally shared by user Mario Naffel, the footage was accompanied by the caption, "Just in, the UN Special Reporter for Human Rights in Palestine. We are horrified by what's happening, and we call for a truce." Now, this is where the debate's going to start. I'm sure you guys have heard about this up to this point. Ben Shapiro, full on wanting to just turn the Gaza Strip to glass, men, women, children, doesn't matter, just, nuke them all to Mars. And Andrew Tate is very much on the camp of, hey, let's give peace a chance. I mean, I'm gonna pull a page from the Beatles book, and let's give peace a chance. I'm pretty sure that was a Beatles reference I just made. John Lennon. Either way, in response to the call for peace, Shapiro wrote, "And they can F right off." By the way, he didn't censor himself on X, which is insane. Like very rarely do you hear Ben Shapiro curse, and when you do, it's like a little, like a 4-year-old's first curse word. He's like, oh, and the damn movie was just so filled with SJW nonsense, and like he never really takes it further than that. But for him to pull, they can fuck right off, and Ben Shapiro actually typed fuck, I was like, oh, whoa, what's going on here? Elf on the Shelf is a little upset. Tate commented on the 39-year-old's post, referring to him as Mr. Tough Guy. "Let me assure you, as someone who does his own fighting, as opposed to excitedly encouraging others to do it for him, while sitting at home in a comfy chair," Tate said, "peace is always worth a conversation." Now, here is why I think that Andrew Tate is the clear victor in this Ben Shapiro debate, feud, whatever you want to call it. Andrew Tate, speaking some sense right here. Peace is always, because what happens? Like, I want to quote a Linkin Park song lyric: "When the rich wage war, it's the poor who die." And, Ben Shapiro, he ain't in any danger of war. Neither is Andrew Tate. Both these dudes, very, very upper echelon, although, the 1%, the upper class, the people that don't have to worry when war comes to their doorstep. The little guy, on the other hand, yeah, they got plenty to worry about. So I think that peace is always worth a chance. I'm also a bit of an anti-interventionist. I don't think that we should be doing anything with Israel. I mean, hey, morally, I stand by him. I think, hey, people bomb you and do bad things to your children. Wanting some revenge, pretty fair. I also think that the U.S., stay the hell out there. Just like with Ukraine, Ukraine. This ain't our fight. Let them deal with it, and we're just gonna reap the benefits of whatever side wins. There's another reason that Ben Shapiro loses, not just Andrew Tate wins, but that Ben Shapiro loses this interaction. I'll get to that in a moment. The 36-year-old, who is Muslim and anti-war, has previously expressed support for Palestine and is advocating for a ceasefire. I do wonder how Tate can be Muslim and anti-war. Those things, they go together like oil and water. If you're typically speaking, and this might go for Christians as well, if you're looking back at the past, if you're a Muslim, you're usually pretty pro-war. So I don't know what book Andrew Tate's been reading, or maybe he's just found the correct way to interpret it, and maybe some of the other Muslims, going back, they could learn a thing or two from Andrew Tate. I'm just saying, being Muslim and anti-war, typically they don't go together. So I can appreciate that sentiment, but it makes me wonder, if he's understanding his book properly. Replying to Tate's jibe, Shapiro said, "Let me assure you, as someone who has not pimped women and bragged about it, the morality requires that those who rape women and kidnap children must be eradicated, not negotiated with." Now, this is where Ben Shapiro loses. Not because he's calling for the eradication of individuals who've done reprehensible things. I don't care about that. But because of how he did it. He did it in his feelings. He did it because he's emotional, and I understand why. The man's Jewish. He's probably got a lot of friends and family in Israel, and he's absolutely, he has got a personal stake in what's going on right now. But it does make you take him a little bit less seriously, since he's, for the better part of a decade, made his entire career off of the phrase, "Facts don't care about your feelings." So when you start getting in these Twitter tirades and these Twitter debates, and you're going at it from an emotional angle, I'm sorry, I can't take you seriously anymore. Your whole draw was that the reason people watched you is you were supposedly able to keep a calm, cool, collected, level head about things and discuss information rationally, logistically, which is why you were a champion on the right wing and the left hated you, because the left were always about going things from the emotional angle, and you came out. Facts don't care about your feelings. And now, here you are, all of a sudden it's an issue that hits Ben Shapiro personally, and then, feelings are okay. Let's go ahead and have a talk about feelings. Whereas you have Andrew Tate, somebody who probably isn't as book smart as Ben Shapiro, I'm sure that goes without saying, being the rational and logical one, saying, violence is bad. Let's hold off on the violence. I get it. Some bad things happen. I understand the want for revenge. But violence in general is a negative. Let's see if there's some other outcomes. Now, I don't necessarily agree with Andrew Tate in having that stance, but by the same token, he is looking like the more calm and rational one when debating with somebody or feuding with somebody on social media that's known for saying facts don't care about your feelings. And that is why Ben Shapiro, no matter what he does from this point going forward, is going to come out looking like the loser, because he's betrayed everything he stood for the last 10 years or so, because he let something emotional get to him when he spent all that time stating that you can't let that happen, that's the reason the left loses. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. Andrew Tate won this exchange. Shapiro is referencing Tate's charges for rape and human trafficking in Romania, where he's accused of creating an organized crime group with the aim of sexually exploiting women. Ben Shapiro, also the dude who's advocated for, innocent until proven guilty. But the insults come out, throwing the accusations that's facing Tate at him, again, when it's something emotional. He's doing what a lot of people on the left do. Oh, you can't come at me with a legitimate, solid argument based on logic and facts, so I'm going to insult you. Ben Shapiro has complained all the time, people just call me names because they can't have a legitimate debate with me. And now you're throwing some accusations and some, not proven criminal charges at Tate to try and discredit him because you don't have an actual argument for his stance, on peace. Like, it's very, very hypocritical, as opposed to, look, whether you like or dislike Andrew Tate, doesn't really matter to me. At least the dude's been consistent, which is more than you can say for Ben right now. During an interview with Piers Morgan on October 11th, Shapiro shared his thoughts on the feud. He was tweeting that immediately as terrorists were still running around in southern Israel. That was October 10th, and he was still tweeting while the bodies were fresh and warm in the streets, Shapiro said. Sorry, Benny boy. You don't get to claim moral superiority here like you weren't, you probably would have been tweeting about this the moment it happened if you weren't on, because you were gone for some sort of, Jewish holiday thing, if I recall. Daily Wire put out a tweet talking about how you were safe and that you hadn't seen the news yet. If you had seen the news, you would have probably immediately been on Twitter throwing, been on X, throwing a firestorm of X's, of posts, whatever, while while bodies were still warm. You don't get to claim to have the moral high ground here, because we know that's not how politics works. No one in politics ever truly has the moral high ground, especially not commentators and pundits like yourself who are out there trying to get the news. I don't have any sort of high ground when I'm sitting here covering this. I'm sure that as you are watching this video, as I'm recording this video, there are probably children dying, and I right now am making money, assuming plenty of you guys like, share, and subscribe, and comment on this video. I am making money talking about a feud between two internet celebrities on the political side of things while children are dying. Ain't nobody here got the moral high ground, so don't sit here and talk on Piers Morgan like you do, Mr. Shapiro. You cannot make peace with people who murdered your children and burn their bodies. You can't do that. The murder happens, you immediately say, okay guys, now truce, now ceasefire. Shapiro believes it's unreasonable for the Israeli government to seek peace with a group that seeks its direct extermination. The author also told Morgan that he would not be lectured on morality and toughness by Andrew Tate. His great idea of toughness and morality is pimping women and then bragging about it on air and trying to quasi-walk it back while simultaneously maintaining many of the same positions and flexing his biceps, he said. Once again, you know Ben Shapiro's razzled right now. He is just like, oh, this Andrew Tate, he's getting under my skin. The skin has been so thick for the last 10 years when I've gone to college campuses, when I've needed bodyguards because people have attacked me over and over. The reason that Ben Shapiro is on the back foot here is because he knows that Andrew Tate is correct, and he doesn't have a logical argument for it. I mean, I'm sorry. It's not like, for a lot of individuals out there that grew up watching the Ben Shapiro Destroys and Ben Shapiro Wrecks, all the Thug Life videos, to see Ben Shapiro getting attacked like this and not having an answer for it, it's probably got to get you guys on the back foot as well. But you know what? You get to see that your heroes are fallible, and I think that's important. Yeah, all in all, like I said, I know this wasn't a nerdy video. It wasn't the sort of thing I normally cover. What do I know? I'm just some sort of jerk-off on the internet who complains about Mary Sue's and Star Wars. I'm not some sort of geopolitical expert. But like I said, I do follow this stuff. It's, when it comes to non-nerdy things, I follow politics every day. I'm a political nut, and obviously there are some political aspects to this channel. I cover a lot of pop culture through a bit of a political lens. I don't always or very rarely go hard in the paint on just the political side of things itself, but I thought this was worth noting because I'm sure a lot of you guys that watch me have some knowledge, or probably for a long time have watched or at least been tangentially involved with, whether it be on social media or YouTube, Ben Shapiro or Andrew Tate. And I don't know if I think that this breaking down of idols or heroes or people that you think have good particular views, or whether it be on politics or social media, pop culture, whatnot, I think it's very important to sort of just dissect things and realize, hey, Ben Shapiro ain't always right. He's a smart man. Not going to argue he's not a smart man, but he got destroyed himself in this one. And if you don't like Andrew Tate, that's a-okay. You can like and dislike whoever you want, but it's also worth acknowledging, yeah, Andrew Tate pretty much won here because he was able to break Ben Shapiro's character that he has put forth to the masses for the last 10 years. He made a hypocrite out of the man, and it's definitely worth bringing up. But, that's it for today. Tomorrow we're going to get back to some more, nerdy news, because I can only handle so many videos that are going to cause me to get banned by YouTube or lose God knows how many subscribers. Speaking of subscribers, you should go ahead and do that for me. Like I said, I've been trying to get to the 2,000 mark before the end of the year, and with us getting to the 1,600 point already, I think we can get it done. But I also want to know your views, so let me know in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word, and it is all here in the Nerdosphere, because this has been Words of Paradise.